Cap. White House defending the president's upcoming trip to Africa. Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough asked on CBS whether or not this is the best use of taxpayer dollars.
The Washington Post reported this week the president's trip to Africa may cost between $60 and $100 million. Is that worth it in a time of sequestration when we've got people at various government agencies working 4 days a week, taking a 20% cut in pay because of these severe budget cuts are in effect?
The Washington Post story also said that was the range of price tag that they put on that trip is fully consistent with the kinds of prices that we've paid or the costs that we've paid for similar trips in the past for Republican and Democratic administrations. The question to ask yourself is the one that you've just asked. Is it worth it? It's very important for the President of the United States as the Commander-in-Chief and as the representative of this government and of the American people to be able to travel to carry out our foreign policy. Now, on the question of the sequester, is it right that we should just let the sequester sit in place? Absolutely not, Bob. We should not. That's why we have aggressively been reaching out to Republicans and Democrats to underscore the tough choices.
All right, okay, so we wanted to play the whole answer so we get context there for our next guest to take it all in. Kirsten Powers, columnist for the Daily Beast, Fox News contributor. Rich Lowry, editor of the National Review and a Fox News contributor as well. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
I know where you are on this, Rich. I mean, the president, the first family, they need their security and their protection overseas. But I guess it comes back to the fundamental question whether or not this is right. What do you believe?
Well, in the context of the sequestration bill, which the White House has portrayed as bringing devastation all across the land, it's very hard to put your finger on what the White House and the president has given up, even just symbolically. Now, in terms of this trip, look, the president has to travel overseas. We're a first world country, a superpower, in fact. So if we can't afford to send the president on trips, that's a sad commentary indeed. And in the scheme of things, this isn't where the real money, Bill, is. It's all in entitlements. And, of course, there the president just is defending the status quo that eventually will bankrupt these programs.
Kirsten, do you have a problem with Bob Schieffer asking that question? $60 to $100 million for one trip.
Well, I mean, the way he asked the question sort of bought into, I think, an idea which is that the president's doing something wrong here, and I don't think that he is. And where the Washington Post got this, it was frankly just an estimate. They don't know how much it's going to cost, but where did they get that? It's based on past trips, they say. So it's based on probably what George Bush spent. So if that's what George Bush was spending, why is it bad for the president to be doing this? He is the president. I imagine there are many things that need to be done.
So you don't see a controversy here then, Kirsten?
And, you know, only for people who are looking for something to criticize the president on. Regarding the sequestration thing, the budget's not fungible. He can't, the president not going on this trip is not going to change the fact that there are people who are furloughed. So it's not as though he can stay home and change that situation.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing how nobody talks about the sequester. Remember, that was going to doom America.
It was going to be the worst thing that ever happened to the United States government and to the U.S. economy, and it's been barely a ripple. And, you know, heads of state oftentimes make symbolic sacrifices, even if they don't, balance the budget right away. The president could certainly say, I'm not going to take a vacation, I'm going to stop golfing, but he's done none of that. And, Bill, the other thing here, and Kirsten's right, this is bigger than just President Obama, it's just the amazing imperial trappings that now come with the American presidency. If Michelle and Barack Obama were going to take a safari on this trip, there would have to be a sniper team along with them. I mean,
Rich, that was scratch now. They're
I know,
go to Tanzania.
They didn't do it, but we're a long way away from, now this was after his presidency, but when TR went to Africa, carried his own gun and protected himself from a lot of animals. In fact, the animals needed protection from him.
At a different time. But get this, military cargo planes, 56 support vehicles, 14 limousines, 3 trucks loaded with sheets of bulletproof glass to cover the windows of the hotels where the first family's staying. Wow, imperial is right.
Yeah, I mean, this is bigger than Barack Obama. This is, you know, if people are concerned about this, then you have to look at all presidents who travel, and not just presidential travel, frankly, the travel of cabinet secretaries when they go overseas. It's quite.
But to Rich's point, Kirsten, you know, you set the example. You show people what you're doing and say, you know, this is what we're cutting back. I mean, can you give us one example of how the White House has cut back since sequestration went into effect?
Well, they cut off the tours.
Right. Well, but that did not affect them. That affected the public.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, they have made some small cuts, I think, in the White House budget, which, frankly, the White House budget isn't that big, and I don't think that there's a lot of, I mean, having worked, at least during the Clinton administration, it wasn't, there's not a lot of places to cut.
It's example, though.
Yeah, I know. I feel like this is not really, if you're going to, sure, so the president could make some example. I don't think the president should stop playing golf. The president likes to play golf. It's something that gives him, gets his mind off of things. I supported George Bush going mountain biking. They should be allowed to do these things. And I just don't think that this is a fair criticism.
But George W. Bush did stop playing golf at a certain point.
But he kept mountain biking.
Can you name one thing that they've cut back in the White House other than tours that affect the public?
Can I?
Can you?
There have been cuts. I just cannot name them.
Kirsten, you go find them and come back and tell us. I got 5 seconds, Rich.
I will.
This is a lesson about sequestration generally, though. Every agency just has to cut a little bit. And they portrayed it as some disaster. I'm sure the White House has cut back a little bit on something. And that's what you had to do throughout the entire government. And it's happened, and it hasn't been a disaster.
Okay, thanks to both of you. Rich, Kirsten, see you soon.